Sutavacha Suta said Jagrihe accepted Paurusham plenary portion as the Purushavat incarnation, Rupam form Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Mahat Adibihi with the ingredients of material world, and Sambhutam there was the creation of Shodasha Khalam, 16 primary principles, Adav in the beginning, the Loka, the universe is Sisrakshaya on the intention of creating. This translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Sutta said, at the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material creation. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. Purport. The Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna maintains these material universes by extending its plenary expansions. So this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle. The original personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, who is famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, is full with all opulences, all potencies, and all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Part of his opulences are manifested as impersonal Brahman, and part of his opulences are manifested as Paramatma. This Purusha feature of the same personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. There are three Purusha features in the material creation, and this form, who is known as the Karanodakshai Vishnu, is the first of the three. The other are known as the Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Kshirodakshai Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from skin holes of this Karanodakshai Vishnu, and each one of the universes the Lord enters as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and then again destroyed. This creation and the destruction is done by the Supreme Will because of the conditioned souls or the Nityabadha living beings. The Nityabadha, the eternally conditioned souls, have the sense of individuality or ahankar, which dictates them sense enjoyment which they are unable to have constitutionally. The Lord is the only enjoyer and all the others are enjoyed. The living beings are predominant enjoyers. But the eternally conditioned souls, forgetful of this constitutional position, have a strong aspiration to enjoy. The chance to enjoy matter is given to the conditioned souls in the material world, and side by side they are given the chance to understand their real constitutional position. Those fortunate living entities who catch the truth and surrender unto the lotus feet of Vasudeva after many, many births in the material world join the eternally liberated souls and thus are allowed to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. After this, such fortunate living entities need not come again within the occasional material creation. But those who cannot catch the constitutional truth are again merged into the Mahatattva at the time of annihilation of the material creation. When the creation is again set up, this Mahatattva is again let loose. This Mahatattva contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. Primarily, this Mahatattva is divided into 16 parts, namely the 5 gross material elements and the 11 working instruments or senses. It is like the cloud in the clear sky. In the spiritual sky, the effulgence of the Brahman is spread all around, and the whole system is dazzling in spiritual light. The Mahatattva is assembled in some corner of the vast, unlimited spiritual sky, and the part which is thus covered by the Mahatattva is called the material sky. This part of the spiritual sky, called the Mahatattva, is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky, and within this Mahatattva there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively reduced by the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, called also as the Mahavishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky. Yashambhashi sayannasya yoganidram vitanvatah nabe hridambujadasit brahma vishwasrijambatihi. Yasya, whose Ambasi in the water, Sayanasya, lying down, Yoga Nidram, sitting, sleeping in meditation, Vitanvataha, ministering, Nabi, nabbled, Hrida, out of the lake, Ambuta, from the lotus, Asit was manifested, Brahma, the grandfather of the living beings, the universe, Srijam, the engineers, Patihi, master. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe, and from the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem. And from the lotus flower atop this system, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. The first Purusha is a Karanadaksha Vishnu. From his skin holes, innumerable universes have sprung up. In each and every universe, the Purusha enters as the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He is lying within the half of the universe, which is full with the water of his body. And from the navel of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu has sprung the stem of the lotus flower. The birth of Brahma, who is the father of all living beings and the master of all demigod engineers engaged in the perfect design and working of the universal order. Within the stem of the lotus, there are 14 divisions of the planetary systems, and the earthly planets are situated in the middle. Upwards there are other better planetary systems, and the topmost system is called Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Downwards from the earthly planetary system, there are 7 lower planetary systems inhabited by the Asuras and similarly other materialistic living beings. From Garbhodakshai Vishnu, there is expansion of the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is the collective Paramatma of all living beings. He is called Hari, and from him all incarnations within the universe are expanded. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Purusha Avatara is manifested in 3 features. The first, the Karunadaksha Vishnu. The second, the Garbhodaksha. First, the Karunadaksha Vishnu, who creates aggregate material ingredients in the Mahatattva. Second, the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who enters into each and every universe. And the third, the Kshirodaksha Vishnu, who is the Paramatma of every material object, or organic or inorganic. One who knows this plenary features of the personality of Godhead knows Godhead properly, and thus the knower becomes freed from the material conditions of birth, death, old age, and disease, as it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In this sloka, the subject matter of the Mahavishnu is summarized. The Mahavishnu lies down in some part of the spiritual sky by his own free will. Thus he lies on the ocean of the Karana, from where he glances over his material nature, and the Mahatattva is at once created. Thus electrified by the power of the Lord, the spiritual nature at once creates innumerable universes, just as in due course a tree decorates itself with innumerable grown fruits. The stem of the tree is sown by the cultivator, and the tree or the creeper in due course becomes manifested with so many fruits. Nothing can take place without a cause. The Karana ocean is therefore called the causal ocean. Karana means causal. We should not foolishly accept the atheistic theory of creation. The description of the atheist is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The atheist does not believe in the creator, but he cannot give a good theory to explain the creation. Material nature has no power to create without the power of the Purusha, just as Prakriti or a woman cannot produce a child without the connection of a Purusha or a man. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy backs of the neck of a goat, although they look like breast nipples. Similarly, we should not expect any creative power from the material ingredients. We should believe in the power of the Purusha, who impregnates Prakriti or nature. Because the Lord wished to lie down in the meditation, the material nature created innumerable universes at once. In each of them the Lord lay down. And thus all the planets and the different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potential, thus he can act perfect planning, although personally he has nothing to do within or equal to him. This is the verdict of the Vedas. Yasyavanam yasyavayava samsthanai kalpito loka vistaraha tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattvam urjitam. Yasya, whose avayava bodily expansion, samsthanaihi, situated in kalpitaha, is imagined. Loka, planets of inhabitant, vistara, various, tattvai, but that is Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead, rupam, form, vishuddham, purely, sattvam, existence, urjitam, excellence. It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence. The conception of the Virata Rupa, or the Vishwarupa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, truth. Related truth especially meant for the neophyte who can hardly think of the transcendental form of the personality of Godhead. To him, a form means something of this material world, and therefore an opposite conception of the absolute is necessary in the beginning to concentrate the mind on the power extension of the Lord. As stated above, the Lord extends his potency in the form of the Mahatattva, which includes all material ingredients. The extension of power by the Lord and the Lord himself personally are one in one sense, but at the same time the Mahatattva is different from the Lord. Therefore, the potency of the Lord and the Lord are simultaneously different and non-different. The conception of the Virat Rupa, especially for the impersonalists, is thus non-different from the eternal form of the Lord. This eternal form of the Lord exists prior to the creation of the Mahatattva, or it is stressed here that the eternal form of the Lord is par excellence spiritual to the modes of material nature. And the very same transcendental form of the Lord is manifested by his internal potency, and the formation of his multifarious manifestations of incarnations is always of the same transcendental quality without any touch of the Mahatattva. Pasyiti adurupamabhadrachakshusha sahasrapadorupujananadbhutam sahasramurta srapanakshinashikam sahasramauliyambara kundalolasan. Pashyanti, see, Adaha, the form of the Purusha, Rupam form, Adabra, perfect, Chakshusha by the eyes, Sahasrapada, thousands of legs, Uru, thighs, Bhuja Anana, hands and faces, Adbhutam, wonderful, Sahasra, thousands of Murda, heads, Shravana, ears, Akshi, eyes, Nashikam, noses, Sahasra, thousands, Mauli, garlands, Ambara, dresses, Kundala, earrings, Ullasat, all growing. Translation. The devotees, with their perfect eyes, see the transcendental form of the Purusha who has thousands of eyes, thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. But without present materialized senses, we cannot perceive anything of the transcendental Lord. Our present senses are to be rectified by the process of devotional service, and the Lord himself becomes revealed to us. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the transcendental Lord can be perceived only by pure devotional service. So it is confirmed in the Vedas that only devotional service can lead one to the side of the Lord, and that only devotional service can reveal him. In the Brahma Samhita also it is said that the Lord is always visible to the devotees whose eyes have been anointed with the tinge of devotional service. So we have to take information of the transcendental form of the Lord from persons who have actually seen him with perfect eyes smeared with the devotional service. In the material world also we do not always see things with our own eyes. We sometimes see through the experience of those who have actually seen or done things. If that is the process for experiencing of a mundane object, it is more perfectly applicable in matters transcendental. So only with patience and perseverance can we realize the transcendental subject matter regarding the absolute truth and its different forms. He is formless to the neophytes, but he is in the transcendental form to the expert servitor. Text number 5. Etananavataranam nidanam bijam avyayam yasyam samsena srijante devatiryam naradayah. This form, Nana, multifarious, avataranam of the incarnations, Nidanam, source, Bijam, seed, Avyayam, indestructible, Yasya, whose Amsha, plenary portion, Amshena, part of the plenary portion, Srijante, create, Deva, demiurge, Tiriyak, animals, Nara Adayaha, human beings and others. This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and the indestructible seed of the multifarious incarnation within the universe. From the particles and the portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men and others are created. The Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahatattva, entered in each of the as the second Purusha, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. When he saw that within the universe there was only darkness and space without a resting place, he filled half of the universe with water from his own perspiration and laid himself down on the same water. This water is called Garbhodaka. Then from his navel the stem of the lotus flower sprouted, and on the flower petals the birth of Brahma, or the master engineer of the universal plan, took place. Brahma became the engineer of the universe, and the Lord himself took charge of the maintenance of the universe as Vishnu. Brahma was generated from Rajaguna or Prakriti, or the mode of passion in nature, and the Vishnu became the Lord of the goodness. Vishnu, being transcendental to the mode, is always from the materialistic affection. This has already been explained. From Brahma there is Rudra, Shiva, who is in charge of the mode of ignorance and darkness. He destroys the whole creation by the will of the Lord. Therefore all three, namely Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, are incarnations of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. From Brahma, the other demigods like Daksha, Marichi, Manu, and many others become incarnated to generate living entities within the universe. This Garbhodaksha Vishnu is glorified in the Vedas in the hymns of the Garbhashtuti, which begin with the description of the Lord as having thousands of heads, etc. The Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the Lord of the universe. And although he appears to be lying within the universe, he is always transcendental. This also has been already been explained. The Vishnu, who is the plenary portion of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life, and he is known as the maintainer of the universe of the Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So the three features of the original Purusha are thus understood. And all the incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Kshirodaksha Vishnu. In different millennia, there are different incarnations, and there are innumerable. Although some of them are very prominent, such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, and many others. These incarnations are called Leela incarnations. Then there are qualitative incarnations such as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who take charge of the different modes of material nature. Lord Vishnu is not different from the personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is in the marginal position between the personality of Godhead and the living entities. Because Brahma is always a Jiva Tattva. The highest pious living being or the greatest devotee of the Lord is empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation. It's called Brahma. His power is like the power of the sun reflected in valuable stones and jewels. When there is no such a living being to take charge of the post of the Brahma, the Lord himself becomes a Brahma and takes charge of the post. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being. He is the plenary portion of the Lord. But because Lord Shiva is in direct touch with the material nature, he is not exactly in the same transcendental position as Lord Vishnu. The difference is like that between milk and the curd. Curd is nothing but milk, and it cannot be used in place of the milk. The next incarnations are the Manus. Within 1 day's duration of the life of Brahma, which is calculated by our solar years, like 4.3 trillion years. 4.3 billion years, there are 14 Manus. Therefore, there are 420 Manus in 1 month of Brahma and 5040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma. It's for 100 of his age, and therefore there are 5,04,000 Manus. 504,000 Manus in the duration of Brahma's life. There are innumerable universes with one Brahma, and each of them and all of them are created and annihilated during the breathing time of the Purusha. Therefore, one can simply imagine how many millions of Manus there are during one breath of the Purusha. The Manus who are prominent within the universe as follows: Yajna as a Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Swarochicha Manu, Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikunta as a Raivata Manu, Ajita as Chakshusha Manu, Vaivatsvata Manu. At the present day is under Vaivatsvata Manu. Sarvabhauma as a Savarni Manu, Vrishabha as a Daksha Savarni Manu, Vishwakshena as Brahma Savarni Manu, Dharmasetu as Dharma Savarni Manu, Sudhama as Rudra Savarni Manu, Yogeshwara as a Deva Savarni Manu, and Brathbhanu as Indra. So, 14 Manus covering 4,300,000,000 solar years as described above. Then there are Yugavataras, or the incarnation of the millennia. The Yugas known as Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The incarnations of each Yuga of the different color. The colors of white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dwapara Yuga, Lord Krishna's black color appeared, and in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya in the yellow color appeared. Incarnations of the Lord are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. There is no scope for an impostor to become an incarnation, for an incarnation must be mentioned in the Shastras. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord, but great sages agree by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The features of the incarnation, the particular type of mission which he has to execute, are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Apart from direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Such incarnations are directly as well as indirectly empowered. When they are indirectly empowered, they are called incarnations. But when they are indirectly empowered, they are called vibhutis. Directly empowered incarnations are the Kumaras, Narada, Prithu, Sesha, Ananta, etc. As far as vibhutis are concerned, they are very explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita in the Vibhuti Yoga chapter. And for all these different types of incarnation, the fountainhead is the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So 5 slokas for today. Thank you very much.